Okay, how I became a Christian. So I believe that I had somewhat of an experience with Jesus probably growing up. You know, I can remember a particular time in youth group where I was just worshiping God. It wasn't a prayer that I said or like a yes, you know, to Jesus, but that moment was genuine, you know, and the joy was real. But life happened. I was only in youth group for like my girlfriend and fun stuff, pizza and stuff, you know. But I had a radical encounter with God as well when I was about 18. Like he came to me. He came to me in an apartment I was living in. I was having like demonic attacks, you know, at night, and that day in particular, I was like talking to demons, scratching my walls, you know, some spiritual something. I was talking to some spiritual something. Don't get too freaked out about it. It was something weird, and it didn't feel nice, you know. It wasn't God, it wasn't friendly. I get a knock on the door, and it's a friend that I haven't seen in about 8 months. Somebody who kind of introduced me to everybody in the hood, and he got on drugs real bad, and he disappeared for about 8 good months. And I'm like selling drugs, you know, living that life. I was actually high on ecstasy that night. I almost died. And yeah, he shows up at my door, and he has a Bible open and worship music banging in his truck really loud. It doesn't even make sense because I have no grid for that stuff. It's like, you're a drug dealer, you know, you're a drug addict, and you were gone, and now you're at my house. When, you know, I'm speaking to these things, you know, that are bugging me, you know, things, I'm calling out to God, and he came. He came in the form of my friend that I haven't seen in 8 months, who, the last I knew of him, had nothing to do with Jesus ever, you know. And he came in, and I started reading the Bible, and this thing was manifesting inside of me. Whatever it was, my stomach was doing weird turns, and I'm pulling my hair out, just something that you'd see in a movie, you know. And yeah, he left. He ended up leaving, but he just told me, like, just keep reading the Bible. And I went into the room, and I looked in the mirror, and I would read the Bible, and I'd flip through the pages like this, and I'd point at something, and my countenance would change. I'd be like glowing almost, and it'd say, this was me. Before each person spoke, it'd say, this is me. And God would speak, and he was using the word. He knows his word so well that he was having a conversation with me, not like super spiritual stuff that like is above and beyond your capacity to understand, but like a genuine conversation like I'm having with you right now, you know, like that type of thing. God had the final word, and he said, hey, now you decide. And I chose God. I pondered it for a moment, and I chose God. I was afraid, and I wanted not to be afraid anymore, and I knew that he can just take that from me. Whatever it was, I chose God, and in an instant, everything changed. Everything changed. Like, any bit of fear left the house. There was, like, peace and stillness, and the grass was green, you know, and I opened my door, and I'm looking at these 2 little girls playing outside, and then they finally notice that I'm staring at them smiling like a creeper. Yeah. Seriously, I'm so serious, and I'm just like smiling at them because the world was alive. You know, I was seeing the world in color. But like I've never experienced anything like that, except for like when I first started taking ecstasy. Because as I took ecstasy, like the more times I would take it, the less I would experience that first time high. You know, it was like I was chasing that one time where like I took the pill and the grass grew and it was just moving, and I was like one with nature, you know, like it was, I never took ecstasy again and felt that, and it was the same type of thing. When God came, like that happened and everything changed, but I had no grid for that. I had no grid for that at all, and next day I'm doing the same thing. I'm trying to take ecstasy again. But yeah, fast forward, boom, long story short, I ended up going to prison. I was selling drugs. I got you know, I was selling drugs to this girl, and she connected me to so-and-so that was her friend, but really it was an undercover cop. Yeah, I ended up going to prison, and in prison, I just wanted to change my life, and I wanted to do the right thing, you know? I was just tired of being like a piece of crap, and yeah, so I just started going to church, because I knew church makes you a better person, you know? And just different times in church where I'd just go and they'd give altar calls, you know, and I'd receive God, but it was just like, I'd get saved every week. I'd get saved every week. Every week I'd just get saved. Every time I'd go to church, I'd get saved, you know, because that thing inside of you compels you, you know. God within me, because that He was in me already. Holy Spirit, He doesn't. I don't think He leaves you. I don't think He makes a home and, you know, just leaves it, you know, to be a vacant place. I believe that that's home, and, you know, we dirty the place up and we make a mess of it sometimes, but home is home for the Holy Spirit. So He was there, and yeah. I was getting sent back from this place called work release. I still belong to the state, but you have good behavior and you have minimal time, and they send you to this place, and you're in a facility with like 120 men. It can be more, it can be less, whatnot. But mine was like 120, and I got a tattoo that's illegal there, and I'm getting sent back. So you still belong to the state. You were just finishing your time there, but one false move, you get sent back to prison. I'm getting sent back. I'm in this transfer cage. It's probably as big as this chair. What you sit in is like a little block like this, and you're supposed to be there for maybe an hour. They pick you up. You know, I was there for about 8 hours, and halfway through it, man, Holy Spirit came, because I was so hopeless, you know. And that's how I know He came, because peace came with Him, like a peace that like you can't really comprehend, you know, because I was so hopeless, and I was so I felt like everything was snatched from me, everything I've ever worked for. You know, that was one of the like lowest points of my life. So He came, and I received Him, and it was like in that moment I was like, dude, I'm gonna do this thing. I chose Jesus.